to go ahead and start recording that now. Tim, can you say something really quick just to test
Absolutely. Try and stop me.
Yeah, there we go. Cool. All right.
It'd be a much more difficult task for me to actually shut up.
Everything should be working. Oh. What's up, Lloyd?
Hey.
Matthew, what's up?
The one and only Fahugo Gods.
It's the one and only. Oh, and I can say start the event. I'll wait for Barker to come in for that. But see, this is I feel like an old man with Discord often. But I'm coming around on it. When we first got the Discord, I don't know if this was the case for you, Tim, but I just found myself completely overwhelmed with it. I was like, there's too much going on. The multiple chats. I feel like it's too fast for me to keep up with. But I've really come around on it in the last couple of years.
I have too, and I'll tell you, it's a very similar experience. But I am a freelancer, and one of my clients has a team of people that are 10 to 15 or more years younger than me.
Oh, wow.
And their
okay,
preferred method was Discord.
Discord, yeah.
So you want to talk about feeling like the grandpa. I felt like Vince Vaughn coming into any Vince Vaughn movie where it's like, they're like, all right, yeah, here, just thread this, start this, do this. And I, by sheer brute force, had to learn it. And it was so awkward. I would, accidentally call people or accidentally hang up and not know how to join. But now I've gotten much more comfortable with it. But I was like, hey guys, can you meet me out here?
Yeah.
Here in Skype?
Hey, Barks. Oh, you're muted, Barker.
You're muted.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. I just jumped in here to realize I look like 1990s the Noodles from The Offspring.
I'm here for that.
I'm really excited to ask Blair Curtis to Winter Ball.
I like this Barker Overwatch skin. I think it's suiting.
All right. Okay, so now this is cool. So I had a little prompt at the bottom of the thing that was like, do you want to start your event? And I said yes. And now on the top of the sidebar, do you guys see that in the Discord? It says live now in the office hours chat, and it says that there's a bunch of people in there. So this is very cool. I think that this is neat.
Yeah, it's a culmination of all that we've wanted for so long.
It is. Yes, absolutely. So welcome everyone to the first office hours. This is something that we've wanted to do for some time, and we're going to try and do this once a month, where one or two or all of us jump into the Discord and hang out. We're going to try it first here with just the text chat. We thought that would keep things from getting a little too overwhelming and get too many voices at once. But I also know that Discord has the option to do you can get in a queue or raise your hand to and we can have people talk or whatever. So we might try some different stuff out, but I think for now we'll go with what's comfortable to us, which is us talking and then being able to interact with the chat. So yeah, we'll keep it. Yeah, really well set up for audience questions. Yeah, totally. But before we get started on the questions, because we do have a couple in the office hours text chat, and then I imagine we'll get some in this chat as well. I just want to know, how's everyone doing? Barker, Tim, how are we doing?
I'm doing really good. I actually wanted to. I want to show you. I brought something to show and tell.
It better be that breakfast.
Ooh, let's do show and tell. I have something to show and tell too.
Oh God, thanks.
Well,
guys.
now I don't want to do it.
No, do it, please.
No, now I don't want to.
I don't have anything to show.
Oh,
okay.
So
I got you.
So I'm in this home group, and we have a GM who's running through Shadows over Drift Chapel, and you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. And I kind of got this group together. It's a coffee shop that I go to. It's a bunch of people who've wanted to play D&D, but they didn't know that the other people who work there wanted to play D&D, so they never really broached the conversation. But I'm at the coffee shop with dice, and I'm writing stuff down. and they're like, "Hey, do you play?" And wait, and then they look at each other like, "Oh, do you play?" Anyway, long story short, the GM, she bought me these dice as a thank you for kind of helping get the group together.
Oh, no way.
And they are, look at these freaking dice for Drift Chapel. Can you see in that?
Is that an eye in there?
It's an eye.
Oh, wow.
It's a freaking eye in each of the dice.
So cool.
Oh my
Oh
word.
my God, Barker.
Come on, you stupid. I need to
Are
get
the
my face
eyes
out of there.
are the eyes static or are they moving around in there?
It's like they're always watching me.
No matter how you roll. No matter how you roll. They're always looking at you. Yeah.
Game science would be pissed.
These are not precision dice regalia.
What do you guys have for show and tell?
I was just gonna show off. I finished a kit yesterday. I'm very proud of it. It is it's the 00 Gundam, but it's the Command Quan type. I don't know what this Gundam is or what it's from. I know that it's a variation of a 00 Gundam, but my wife got me this for Christmas because she thought that it looked cool, and she was right because it has this big old sword, which is dope.
Really cool.
Love a big old sword. It has a rocket launcher on its shoulder that can like pop up and down, and it has this little like targeting finder too that can pop up and down. And then the coolest thing, its shield has a gun built into the shield, and there are little daggers that pop off of the shield. So the guy has little daggers.
That's insane. And then you gotta ask, like, is that a gun with a shield on it, or is it a shield with a
gun on it? Exactly.
Because they're both pretty sizable.
Yeah, the gun and the shield are both comprise about half of the weight of the thing. So anyway,
shield gun.
Yeah. All right, Tim, what do you have to show and tell?
So this is impromptu because I didn't know we were gonna do this. So some of you know this is gonna be a little bit of a rabbit trail, and it's gonna start off with a bit of a jaw punch. Some of you know that my dad passed away in September. And one of my ways of coping with that was eating all the things. And so I gained a bunch of weight, but I'm slowly getting that under control. And in January, I bought a goal shirt. It's this Ted Lasso t-shirt. And today I was like, let me see if it'll fit for office hours. And it did. And it fit.
Yay!
Woo! So it was tight. I should have taken a before picture because it looked like somebody sewed it on me, like in two pieces when I first tried it on. The torso fit normal, but like my belly, just like the sides were just Eggman.
You're like, it's touch and go there for a little bit.
And my belly was like sort of hanging out, and I thought, yeah. But today I put it on, and I was like, I gotta tell you, I wasn't expecting it to fit. So I was like, yes.
That's awesome, man.
So that's my show and tell.
Yeah, congrats. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah.
Big ups, man. Big ups.
Thank you.
My
show. That's my tell.
What are you guys doing? Listen, I'm gonna get a little bit of work done. I'm gonna get a little work done while we're doing this because usually we meet on Mondays. Usually we do exactly this, but there's not a bunch of people in a text chat.
There's not a bunch of people. Yeah.
So, are you guys working on anything other than?
No, I don't have anything at the moment. I have the Aether Nexus stock. Oh my god, I just said what it was. Holy shit, I just said the name of it with no fanfare. Like we're just in a meeting. Oh my god.
Beautiful.
Holy.
Which stuff do you have open again?
So Matt, what's the name of the next project that is doing?
Oh, look, Lloyd.
I was gonna do like a whole. I was gonna do a whole thing where I talk about, okay, we're gonna talk about what we're doing for Mecha Hack, and I just I just dropped the name of it. First of all, like it means anything to anyone, and second of all, like it's just common knowledge. So I guess I can talk about that. Should we talk?
I think you should.
Okay.
I think you should, because that's what I was gonna work on. Was
cool. So. What do we? So the next Mecha Hack thing, we've been working on this for a little while, and if you were one of my patrons when I used to have a Patreon back in olden times, there was something that I was working on called Apparatus Ethereum, which at the time was just some like like rules that you could put into Mecha Hack to be able to run fantasy games, and that has since spun off into its own setting, but also its own kind of. I don't want to say that it's a whole new game, but it's kind of an iteration of Mecha Hack where there's enough differences in it where it's not really like a one-to-one sort of thing. So there's a lot of rules in the game that are like refinements, improvements that I want to just make to Mecha Hack in general, but also things that are like thematic and tied to the setting. So the game is called Aether Nexus. It is set in a fantasy world called Escara, which is kind of this this broken world that has fragmented and is kind of spread across the cosmos and is sort of like orbiting the molten core of this world. So there are skyships and there are mecha called apparatus, and the sort of like the hook of the setting, the thing that kind of ties everything together, is this idea of this extra dimensional space, this these rivers that kind of run through between worlds, between dimensions, and it's called the Ethereal. And when one of these pilots, one of these knights, straps into their apparatus and tethers themselves to it, they also sort of upload their consciousness to this this plane known as the Ethereal, and in doing so, they symbiotically link sort of in this extra dimensional space with the rest of their squad. And so what we're trying to do with Aether Nexus is we're trying to really push teams and collaborating and doing different things together. And so I don't want to get too deep in the weeds here and like go over like mechanics and stuff, but one of the more like cool new mechanics that we have in the game is you have your Nexus die, which is essentially like your reactor die from Mecha Hack. And when you roll your Nexus die, it works very similar to the reactor die. It downgrades if you roll a 1. But there's a new effect. If you roll the maximum result on your Nexus die, so let's say your Nexus die is D6 and you roll a 6 on it, you trigger your Nexus Surge, which is a cool ability where you get to like pull in your teammates to do things like attack together, or like gather up in one spot, or swap stats, things like that. So I'm pretty excited about it. And we're going to be playtesting it like soon. And when I say soon, I don't mean soon TM. I mean soon, like in the next couple weeks, we'll be putting out a playtest stock for people to look at. And we're kickstarting it next month. So we're currently working with some artists, getting things compiled together for that. And I do have some art that I could show off. Should I show off some of the art? Do people want to see? Do people want to see Aether Nexus art? Let's see if I can share my screen.
I sure do.
I do.
I think too, like as a Nintendo player, like growing up on that, this from Mecha Hack to Aether Nexus reminds me of some of the great jumps from like Mario to Mario 3, or like when we hit Mega Man 2, 3, and 4, where you added the slide and charging up the Buster, and like it's the same core game. You'll recognize it, but there's features that make it feel totally unique, and already
this
just like
is super Contra.
It's super Contra.
Super Metroid, yeah, totally.
But it still feels like the Mecha Hack going through, and I love that. But the world is just so unique.
Yeah, a lot of the like work that we've been doing on the game is the setting, and just in the last couple months, I feel like in just talking all together and working in this doc together, we've really like pushed through a bunch of the like hurdles that I've had with the setting, and like the big questions that I've had about like how does all of this work, and like so I feel like it's like really coming together, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I just want to talk really briefly about these two pieces of art that we have here. So we're working with an artist named Ben Fluter. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He does really incredible mechanical designs, and he's been working on some concept art for us as well as some finished pieces. And here's a couple of the finished pieces. these are two of the frames. The frames are like the chassis in Mecha Hacks, so these are sort of like the base classes of the game. The one on the left there, the kind of like knightly looking one, is called the Dragoon. And the Dragoon is kind of the versatile jack of all trades type mecha. But it can transform. It can turn into a flying vehicle, which is very handy because you're in this setting where it's mostly floating islands. There's a lot of open sky to explore. And there's also the ethereal itself. So the Dragoon, you can kind of see it has sort of these like dragonfly wings on its back. We have a bunch of cool concepts of exactly how the transformation sequence works. Ben like went all out and did a whole like this is what happened. Like step 1, it does this. Step 2, it like Transformer sort of style. So that's really cool. And then the one on the right there, that kind of that creepy looking spider boy, the fucking round boy, as Lloyd says, that is called the Ettercap, and its big thing is summoning little drones, these little spiderlings. We loved the swarm dice so much from Mission Manual that we've continued to kind of adapt and improve those, and so in Aether Nexus, the Legion dice, we're calling them, are like a big core component of the game. Enemies can have Legion dice, allies can have Legion dice, and the Ettercap is kind of the frame that really plays upon that concept. And so you can have these little spiderlings that are able to deal damage or tank damage for you, and you can also ensnare people with your webs. Very spidery kind of theme. So those are two of the frames that we're working on. I don't want to talk too much, but yeah, playtest document. It's gonna have everything you need to play, including enemies. We're gonna do a couple little missions for it as well, a la Mission Manual, and yeah, I'm really excited about it. Like, if anyone has any questions, you can feel free to leave them in the chat, or Barker and Tim, if I've forgotten to mention anything, or if there's something that you're particularly excited about that you want to talk about, you can do so.
I was just gonna say that this will be our next Kickstarter. We don't know exactly when, but like, we're excited. We think that this is something that we want to play, and that's kind of like, if you've seen anything in the last few months for us, it's let's let everything kind of pause, just chill, let the dust settle, and then get back to making stuff we love making. And I haven't been as excited in years. Working on Parker's Vault, working on series, working on Aether Nexus, it just feels so good, and I'm so ready to just start playing games with everyone. And just getting this stuff out there. So I'm so jazzed.
That picture, that art, the one on the left has a freaking rocket in the back of his head that makes him a perfect woodpecker.
Yeah. He just swivels that around and yep.
Toggle switch.
So yeah, that's what I've been working on.
One of the cool things about Aether Nexus so far has been we'll do this thing in our Monday meeting where we'll call it a workbench, where we usually just take like 15 minutes to do a quick stand-up, tell each other how we're doing, what we're doing for the day, how crappy we feel sometimes, how great we feel sometimes too. But also we dedicated a workbench to really talking about kind of one side of Aether Nexus. I don't want to talk too much about it, but like, there's the word Aether is in there. So how does this work? So we're kind of figuring out how the setting works. I put out there that I'd really like to have another one that talks about the whole universe, even if we never end up using it. Even if, how like there's some toys that you can buy that have like kind of like a wink at a storyline.
Yeah, it's the paragraph on the back of the box.
Yeah.
The paragraph on the back of the box. Paragraph on the back of the box. But I'm like, let's discover everything that there is that's not going to go on the back of the box, so I can help make what's on the back of the box as good as it can be and not like screw it up. So like that workbench was really awesome. I enjoyed that, and this is also my way. Since this is office hours, we're in the office here.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring that up again to you, Matt. We should do that. A workbench. I know that you were talking about like a play test.
Absolutely, yeah.
For us, we should do a workbench, like a universal Aether Nexus universal workbench.
I would love to, because that's like, well, and that's a perfect thing to bring it, because we really do. We don't want office hours to be like we're just going to talk about the stuff we're working on. We want to talk about like our processes and like talk to you guys about what you're working on and stuff like that. But that's invaluable thing that we do, the Monday stand-up meetings and our workbenches. And the last workbench we did, not the last one, but the last time we did Aether Nexus for a workbench, we knocked down this wall that I had been kind of butting up against for like a month or two, and I was getting no writing done because I just kept butting up against this wall. And just talking to Tim and talking to Barker and hearing their ideas and how they conceptualize things, we really honed in on exactly what Aether is, what the ethereal is, and how to like conceptualize it in our minds. And I have been nonstop writing ever since. Just cranking. I cannot stop writing for this game, and I'm really excited about that. So yeah, we're excited to get it out for people to play test. We're gonna do all the play testing and stuff like here in the Discord. We're gonna like have the Aether Nexus channel for people to come, get the doc, play tests, arrange games and stuff like that. It's all gonna happen here in the Discord. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and just scrolling through my Monday, I'm really looking forward to Monday because we have all these different puzzle pieces that we've been working on, and I'm going to just start filing away and do my bit. And I think, Matt, you mentioned, were you going to still lay this out, or are you going to do it as a PDF?
Yeah, I think I am. Like, it looks, I got it looking pretty nice in the Google Doc, but
great.
So we'll see how I'm feeling. I'm feeling the itch to get into InDesign and do some layout, and I think I could do it pretty quick. And since we've got some good art pieces from Ben, I feel like I want to get in there and do it. But yeah, it'll most likely be like fully laid out PDF situation, but I might toss a Google Doc at people if I don't get to it. So
that's killer. Because what I'll do like on Monday is I'll jump in there. You have some stuff highlighted for us to look at. I have some stuff that I told you I would write, and then I'm gonna start slicing up the concept stuff from Ben and different things to drop into the alpha layout.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to that because it's no secret that my whole favorite thing about any of this stuff is when it starts to get into that book form and look like a real thing.
Yeah.
That is just, I love it. I love it. It will never get old to me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I look like a ghost. I'm going to close my blinds. Realizing the sunlight shining off of my pallid face.
That's me too. I always look like there's an atomic bomb going off. I'm like,
you guys look like the skeletons in the new Avenged Sevenfold music video.
Stop motion.
Topical reference.
I can't stop all the day. Yesterday and even today, I'm just like. Sometimes I go chest. It's super catchy. I love it.
So Tim, this is going to be totally out of context for people, but I'll make it quick. At the beginning, I think it's produced, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Halfway through, I think it's.
You think he's doing one hand?
I think he's doing one hand down up because it's a loose,
octopus.
It's a little splashy.
You think he's doing
octopus is if he does it with the kicks. But he's doing it's like bah, bah.
That's
I think that's what he's doing. I don't know what you can see here. I can't see myself.
I can see you, and you're playing a kit, and it's real.
Yeah, it is real.
I'm just excited for a band to be doing something that is awake and energetic and makes me lift an eyebrow. I'm like, yeah, I'm here for that. Like if they have a whole album of that, I'll be so stoked, and I'll write a whole game to it. Like, I'm here. I am here for that. I love it when artists get to do their own thing. Like, I don't ever want to be like, stay what I love, you. How dare you grow artistically? And then you have bands like Iron Maiden who they're like, no, we know what we are.
Disturbed.
Yeah.
Disturbed is another great example. Yeah. Matthew McCarran in the chat. A friend has been hounding me to run Mecha Hack soon, so I think I'll get him in, then hit him with the Aether Nexus playtest as a follow-up.
Ooh, yeah.
Love it. Yeah, that sounds fun. Oh, and I can say too. I can say with certainty that there's 6 frames, so there's more frames in Aether Nexus the playtest than there were in the base game of Mecha Hack. So there's lots of fun options for people. There were originally only going to be 4, but then I couldn't help myself.
Right? Exactly. Did we want to jump into some questions, or?
Yeah, I think so. I know we want to talk about some series stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got some we have a couple questions that were in the text chat, and then anything else that comes up, we can feel free to tackle.
Yeah, I'm into that.
Barker, do you want to do a couple questions and then maybe talk about series stuff?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. That sounds great. I've got the questions open. When was Tim planning on running Dragon Grin next, if at all?
Why?
I started at the top.
So I'll make it quick but transparent, which is with my dad passing away, with James leaving AbTab, with the stuff that we have going on, I have really sort of missed running games, but I've had my focus entirely elsewhere. But I'm feeling it, and so I will say soon TM. Not real soon like this playtest, but soon TM, because I think I want to use Dragon Grin as the testing ground, because all the lore is finished for the first alpha rules of the 6-minute RPG, which is not a slightly different game than the 5-minute RPG. It's the new title because of 5-minute dungeon and all those games. So that's what I want to do, is run some Dragon Grin games with that system. And so soon TM, I would hope by summer, is kind of my little personal goal. But we want to have Aether to a point where we can kickstart it. We want to get that rolling. I've got a vacation coming up. Probably after that stuff, I'll be feeling the itch pretty bad, I guess.
Yeah, that's fair. I feel that sounds like a reasonable timeline to me.
Real organic. You know,
Yeah.
just like not like rushing it, not doing it to do it, but
Totally.
I will definitely let everybody know.
Yeah, totally.
Matthew McCarran asks, who is the neighborhood Normator, by the way, if you've seen in the Discord, the Normator fitness chat. I am like 1 day a week, I can turn it on, baby. And I am disciplined 1 day a week, which I understand is very undisciplined, but it is Matthew and him in the chat that keeps me disciplined, because you just, if you're feeling something, if you want to like see someone do it every day, you go to the chat and you see that. Also, dank recipes in there too. Somewhat ironically, it being a fitness chat, there's a really great curry recipe. I think that's in there. There's a lot of good stuff. So, but he asks, what's next for AbTab's big picture? I know there's been talk of projects beyond the Battle for Arctur's Vault, such as Fantasy Mecha Hack. Matt, you want to talk a little bit about that? A potential monster supplement for Dragon Grin. That was Aether Nexus, by the way, everybody. A potential monster supplement for Dragon Grin, and more. But, so this is like the real question. But are there plans for future collaborations, community events, new long-term projects, etc.?
I have one thing. I know I just did a lot of words, but
we do words, dude.
We do words.
Them. You do them, and you do them good. You take these words and you do them.
I will take these words and do them.
Do the words.
So, in addition to all the things listed, I think those are all still in the pipeline. But one thing that I'm happy to be heading up and am kind of working with and have made actual progress on is it has a bunch of joke project names, these code names. The latest one that I didn't get to talk to you guys about is calling it Project Sloppy Disk. which is we are finally building an online digital tool set.
You do words. We do
Sloppy
words.
disk.
Project Sloppy Disk.
Which I am
Incredible.
codenaming Project Sloppy Disk for the moment. This is just going to be, just vision casting. We are in no way like trying to go all digital and everything, but we're just trying to sort of look at how Discord can integrate with some online properties and make a really cool space where you can experience AbTab and be online as well as having your print books. So that's kind of the big one that I'm really proud of at the moment. And then everything else. Is there anything else you guys want to mention?
Hold on one second. I'm saving images here. Am I?
No, do your thing.
I'm
No,
not
you're
muted. Okay, I could have just chimed in right away. I've been right on the mute button. So there's what's cool about AbTab long term is there's always something long term. There's always something at the end of the horizon that we're like, oh yes, that's where the compass is headed. It might not be where the rudder is pointing right now, but just being able to have the updated site, have like some like. I mean, to be honest, I'm a little bit worried about like spoiling some things, but we have a dozen people in here, and I think it's awesome. Like, but like,
uncork it,
we kind of view the whole OGL issue as kind of an opportunity disguised as loss. Not just an opportunity for us, but an opportunity for you, everybody. Wizards of the Coast tended to, and it's funny, this C actually just put this question in the chat, so it's kind of answering it. But this is less of an answer and more of a Barker's take, and anyone else can chime in after, as always. But Wizards of the Coast caused an avalanche and then tried to put all the snow back in place.
Just put it back on the mountain. It's not that hard.
Yeah. Oh, come on. How many shovels does it need?
It's a team of interns just doing it by the handful.
They contracted out. They contracted
out purple-handed freelancers unpaid.
Chris Perkins is the Uruk-hai gang boss, just like whipping people as they walk up and down the mountain.
Keep shoveling!
But it's kind of it's been this beautiful moment where them trying to put the snow back on the mountain just made it better for everybody, because if you were making 5e stuff, you're still able to do that. Awesome. Now we can continue supporting our friends like Marquise Hardis, who has Scavenger out, Iskloft. There's a lot of things out there that are attached to 5e that we could support our friends for and during. Mm-hmm. And also now there's this new motivation to do other stuff. So a new motivation to kind of lean projects that we were working on as 5e away from 5e, and projects that were kind of 5e adjacent, now completely different. The cinematic mass combat rules for the Battle for Arctur's Vault are a really good example of something that was like, nope, if you're playing 5e with it, you can do that in this phase. But other than that, it's totally narrative, totally standalone. The Battle for Arctur's Vault is also a good example of something that's 5e that is now 5e adjacent, because there's so much kind of narrative stuff in there. So when I'm thinking about the horizon, I'm thinking about systems. I'm thinking about an opening of tabletop RPGs into a lot of different ideas, a lot of collaboration, and a lot of seeing a lot of other people's new systems and new takes on systems.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that that the whole OGL fiasco kind of, I mean, it got resolved essentially because WotC kind of like stepped back on it, and now things are sort of seemingly more open and accessible than ever. But I think what they did, like Barker mentioned, is that it's an avalanche. You can't put the snow back on the mountain. Yeah. We all see kind of what's going on, and we know that they can potentially try to pull some stuff in the future. And so I think that most people are less inclined to get too tangled up in creating content for 5e or for 6th edition, 1D&D, whatever the next iteration of the game is. And I just want to tie this into Lloyd asked a question about Harbinger, and it's funny because like over the summer when I was working on Harbinger, and it was like I started sort of decoupling it from a lot of the like 5e framework. I started working on because we already kind of did that with the last update that we did, and this was a couple years ago, but the last update that we did where the classes were you were able to pick whatever talents you wanted. There was not really a whole lot of linear progression. It was all kind of opened up and allowed to be customizable, and I think that we're veering even more in that direction. Specifically with Harbinger, Harbinger is just such this big looming thing for me that it is always kind of this white whale like cresting the ocean on the horizon, blowing some water out of its blowhole, and I'm sitting there with the spear just like, next time, baby, like you know. But I think that at a certain point I gotta paddle out, and I gotta confront this whale and let it eat me. So at some point I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be great in the next couple of years here, I think.
Someone should make a GIF of Terrence Howard in Iron Man looking at the suit, and it says on the suit, it says Harbinger, and behind it says next time, baby. And he
next
turns and
time,
walks,
baby.
and it's
yes.
every other project that Matt's working on. It's like a wall of projects.
Yes.
And then there's like a bunch of M dashes.
Yeah.
He's got editing work to do too.
And then it's a GIF. It's Don Cheadle in Iron Man 2, and it says Aether Nexus, and he goes, "It's me. I'm here."
Oh, that's too real. I will say too, like Matt, to your credit, before Wizards, you were like, guys, I'm really feeling like Harbinger should be its own thing.
Yeah.
And I think we were like, yeah, I agree. Like, that's cool. And it was liberating that we didn't have to make it work.
Yeah.
That we were bumping into 5e, and it was keeping our ideas in a box. And so then when this hit, it was like, woo! We made the right bet.
We did it.
And then something else, Matt, that I think was really cool and beautiful that you said about the future of AbTab was that we have a lot of cool stuff we can do, but we don't really know exactly what's next. And that feels awesome.
Yeah.
And I love it. I likened it to like Elden Ring, where you just see a shape in the distance. And you're like, oh, I'm going to run toward that thing. That looks cool. How do I get there? We've got a bunch of cool shapes to run toward. Yeah. And that just feels really liberating.
We're going to die 1,000 times trying to get to him.
My God. Oh, yeah.
No more. We're getting on an Aether ship.
Grizzly punishing deaths, all of them.
And I don't want to. I don't want to oversell the Harbinger. Like, Harbinger will still be it'll be a D20 based. It's levels. It will feel like a D20 game, but it will feel less and less like 5e. It will be less tangled up in the way that skills work, the way that proficiencies work, the way that progression works, conditions, all of that kind of stuff. Like, continuing to just peel the sticker off of the thing, you know what I mean, and get all just very carefully peeling it away so that I can stick it on the next thing. So yeah.
Can I just say, you guys look very handsome. I showed up looking like a scrub.
No, dude, like, you look great. What are you talking about?
No.
I'm not fishing with the net. Listen.
Fishing with the net. You guys, look at that. Okay, Tim, you're fitting into your freaking goal shirt. Beautiful. Matt, that pink beanie is really doing it for me with those glasses.
He's giving me a smolder. I gotta adjust my camera after that. It's foggy.
All of a sudden, your chin is this big.
Like,
yeah.
Do you know that there was probably a 5-minute span where I thought it would be the best if I showed up with a beanie and glasses. I almost did it for no reason other than to be like trying to look exactly like that.
I'd be like, "Oh, are you?" That's cool. I thought
like,
beanie and glasses was my thing, but sure.
I was like, what? Oh, what is it? What do you own?
You have a monopoly on beanies.
You do not call dibs.
Matt's gonna show up to the next meeting dressed as Thanos, like a total cosplay.
Full prosthetic
face
chin.
makeup,
I
everything.
just put this on my chin, and I've got a Thanos. It has the little.
He's got a T-shirt that says art director on it.
Balance.
I didn't mean to derail there. Go ahead, Matt.
No, it's all good. DBJ said like Cipher System D20, but not D&D. Yeah, or like Shadow of the Demon Lord is like that's D20 based, and it shares some similarities with 5e, but it's not really 5. You know what I mean? It's not 5e, so that's another like good comparison. So, we have a good question here from Christopher Moore. Asks, what do y'all do for motivation, and what do you do to stay disciplined to see a project through to the finish? Oh, and then by the way, that Gundam shirt is awesome. Thank you. Okay, so this is the Gundam roster from an SNES game called Endless Duel. These are the pixel. This is like the character select screen from Endless Duel. So it's like a niche within a niche.
If you know what Endless Duel is, I want you to share a GIF in the Discord right now.
Let's get some Endless Duel GIFs in the Discord.
If you don't know what Endless Duel is, I want you to leave an emoji on the one GIF we're gonna get that Matt's gonna post. Oh gosh.
How do you know? How do you know?
I don't know.
But this is a really good question. Tim with the Endless Duel GIF, beautiful.
Yeah, come on. I loved this game.
Great. That's great. It's such a good game.
It really is, especially for the time. And I'm a cheeky monkey.
Where's
for
the
Pixel
GIF?
art.
Yeah. It's
I
in
did
the...
it in the office hours chat.
Yeah, in the
so
office hours. No, that's great.
I probably didn't follow instructions.
Yeah, that's all
Mine
good.
hasn't.
So Barker, there's the text chat. This is so confusing. Okay, so there's the text channel, and then if you go to the voice channel, you should be able to open. There's a little chat that is attached to the voice channel.
Oh no! Oh, I hate it.
Oh
Where?
no!
Oh, I hate. I've been missing so much.
Oh no!
I'm like, oh my god, this is dead. Lloyd left one question and then took off. Oh my god! All right, hold on, I gotta catch up.
Hey, someone's using the.
Oh crap! You did hear my cat. I'm so sorry. That was Mara Jade freaking yelling at me because it snowed last night. She's pissed that I did that.
Coffee Bean used the Colossus emoji that I put in this server.
If I just post, I'm an old man. If I just copy a GIF and put it in the chat, will it animate, Tim, or do I need to put the link to it?
So what you should probably do is click the emoji button,
and
then on there it's emoji, stickers, and GIFs, and I would pick a GIF from there.
Emoji, stickers, and GIFs.
Yep. And then you click.
I got it. There's just
the
one.
young kids are doing it.
There's just the one though.
What?
There's just the one Endless Duel GIF. Well, whatever.
Oh yeah, there is, and I stole it quickly.
I'm disappointed.
Time to make more.
But okay, I can paste GIFs into Discord. Lloyd says I'm gonna do it.
While he's doing that, I'll just jump on one beginning.
Oh, it's not animated though.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway.
It is. He's just in stasis in the middle of a monologue. I haven't seen the game.
His eyes.
It says, "God, Matt, how embarrassing." Oh God, I'm an old man. Okay.
But Christopher.
Yes.
I think 2 hacks that aren't personal, meaning this isn't anything I'm bringing to the table, but 2 benefits that we have being an AbTab. 1, we all are disciplined at different times. So if I'm waning, Matt or Barker might be waxing their mustache. So they're staying disciplined. So Barker might be really feeling it. Right now, Matt's really feeling it on Aether Nexus. So that gives me a moment to take a breath and gather some ideas and maybe not hit the grindstone as hard. The other thing is sharing it publicly. We tell you that a playtest is going to be due in 2 weeks. That deadline that is beholden to the community is now like, hey, we're going to put this before anything else. And then personally, I think over the course of time, I've learned that I just love doing this stuff. So it's what I like to do in my free time. try to find that project, and when it stops being fun, still eat your vegetables. So you just got to do the unfun parts. That's the only way to get something finished. That's kind of how I would say.
I'm reading that Rick Rubin book, Tim, The Creative Act.
I started
listening to it, and okay, so we can get into that later. But there's one chapter where he finally says, you know, you have to build the staircase. Like if your job is to build the staircase, you have to build the spiral staircase.
Gotcha.
You can't just dream about the staircase and think about the staircase and come up with new ideas for the type of rug that's going to cover every other step, and then, you know, the materials. Once you have it, you have to build the staircase, and sometimes it's really, really hard to do that. But that was kind of what you ended with, and that's, you really have to do it.
Yeah, because it's this big thing in your head, and it can feel really scary to make it quantified. What if it's not perfect? But the trick is to not focus on building one staircase your whole life. Like you build that staircase and then you move on to the next one. I'll quickly say that I'm gonna finish that whole book, but there are a lot of times where I'm like, what? In the first 2 chapters, I'm like, what? No. I'm like talking to Rick Rubin like he's in my house. Anyway, I'll respect his opinion and finish it.
The first meditation gong that I heard, I was like, yep, that's exactly
I'm also doing the audiobook. Yeah.
Yep,
anyway,
same.
I can't argue with his body of work, but I can argue with his opinions on how he's gotten there. And I can also show you a couple of turds in between the gems that I think could have been avoided.
Does he narrate the audiobook? Does he narrate it himself? Okay, good for him.
The turds are just fertilizer. The next idea.
Shut your mouth. Everything is nothing, and nothing is everything. It's got some really good info in there, but that's a great piece of advice, though. You got to start building the staircase.
Build the staircase.
So great advice. I will just add that I try to, if I can, I just set aside like 10 minutes. Most days, not every day, but just 10 minutes where I can sit and be with a project and get some writing done, get some work on it done if I can. And sometimes that 10 minutes is just 10 minutes and it's really frustrating and I feel like I don't get any work done. And sometimes that 10 minutes turns into an hour, 90 minutes, where I get into a good groove and I'm sort of actually getting some writing done. And that happens more often than not when I'm in a good headspace. But I think it's important to acknowledge too that I consider myself like we've put out a lot of books, the AbTab boys. We've put out some books, we've created some products, and we've put them out there. But there will be months where I don't do anything. There will be months where I don't write at all. There will be months where I don't get any work done on a project because of whatever reason, because of outside things or because I'm not in a good headspace for it. But I make up for it when I get into these like like manic hyperfixations where I'm just like I can't do anything else. I got to work on this thing. And so like I think it's important to acknowledge that like sometimes you just can't work. Sometimes you cannot motivate yourself to work. But if you just set aside 10 minutes a day and you just like keep doing that, eventually it'll be like, oh, wow, I wrote for 30 minutes. I feel good about that. Or I wrote for an hour, or I completely lost track of time. I was in another dimension and I've been writing for 2 hours and now here I am. That can be helpful. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
I feel like all the worst advice is one of the best advice, some of the best advice too, where it's like, the hardest part is getting started. I've heard that so much, it makes me want to puke. Saying it makes me want to puke. Yeah. Hearing Rick Rubin say it makes me want to puke. And then I'm like, but that is absolutely my thing. Sometimes like just putting pen to page, just doing the thing until you're doing it is the hardest thing to get started for me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Matt, that's killer advice, because when you do that 10 minutes every day and let's even say you miss a few days because we're human, or you decide to take weekends off, like whatever your personal thing is, you still have 4 weeks worth of writing. And before you know it, you're like, wow, this thing's halfway done. And that can be really motivating too when you can kind of see the direction it's headed.
Yeah.
You just keep doing it. And it's like filling up a bucket. Some days you have a dropper. Some days you have a big gulp cup.
Yeah,
but as long as you're putting water in that bucket, eventually it's going to fill up.
Yeah. That's great. C asks, are there any future iterations coming to Hyperspace D6, or is that like fully complete? So I definitely I want to finish Hyperspace D6. I don't consider it finished, even though it's playable. But this gets all hinky because Hyperspace D6 is not an ab-tab thing. It's just a little side project that I do over here. But
everyone cover your Disney.
Yeah,
cams.
Just don't listen. I'm not involved in Hyperspace D6 in any way.
Listen,
but yes, I do want to finish Hyperspace D6, and I imagine that at some point that will be the thing that I'm like, oh, I'm doing this. I'm gonna finish Hyperspace D6, and it'll take me like a week, and I'll finish it and put it out into the world. At some point, that will happen.
And I will make it no secret that my intention is that when it's as finished as possible, I want to file all the serial numbers off of it and figure out some ab-tab world in outer space that's like, hey.
Totally.
Galaxy battles.
It's a compulsion.
Yeah.
Why are all the ships named after numbers?
Sun conflict.
Dude, yeah. It's a one-wing.
I fly my one wing into the pit of Mount Doom. I don't know. I was trying to think of like a Death Star parallel.
Yeah.
All right. Did you drop your bright saber, or is it still like it's just legally dissimilar?
Legally dissimilar, baby.
Oh man. Yeah. It's a tight little system though. I played it once and I was like, this is really nice.
I like it. I think it's good.
I mean, I don't hate it. I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it.
Reclamation is what I think of. I enjoyed playing. I think Rob Coletta was in that.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite campaigns I ever run. Was that Reclamation campaign?
Used the Force to put a ship into another ship. Was maybe the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have fond memories of that campaign for sure. We've got some time here. I think I would love to hear Barker talk about series a little bit if we want to do that here with the time we have left.
Sure. And there's a question actually that kind of brought it up. I don't know if Lee was talking about series or if Lee was talking about any of the other things we've talked about. I'm looking forward to what you guys produce in the future. For your new system, if you are willing to share, do you have a really cool mechanic? Do you have a really unique, cool mechanic? No pressure. It's just got to be, no pressure at all. It's got to be a mechanic that's really cool and unique. And it's that separates it from 5e significantly. Series is not even close to 5e. It's totally its own thing, its own layered system, and that can be as simple or as complex as you want. Matt, do you have a D6 and a D4 in front of you right now?
I can. I've got my dice bag right here. Yep, I do. D6 and D4.
All right, you're being attacked by a massive crystalline bug that's trying to puncture your body with its razor-sharp limbs. And surrounding this event is just the fray of battle. The battle against the variophages. You know this thing is called a phage. What is the thing that is defending you the most from the phage? What is protecting you? What are you using to not get killed by it?
The bayonet on the end of my rifle.
Awesome. That's your D6. The bayonet, and if anything that is kind of parallel to that bayonet, your skill with the bayonet, your skill with a spear even could be parallel. That's your D6. The D4 is kind of the first challenge die. So go ahead and roll the D6 against the D4.
That's a 6 on the 6 and a 4 on the 4. Max on both.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, the objective is to roll your bayonet over the challenge die.
Yeah.
So describe you just completely eviscerating or changing this fate from you being eaten to you destroying this phage and moving on to the battle.
Yeah, I know that the crystalline form of this creature is difficult to destroy, difficult to puncture, but as it's kind of rearing over me, it exposes this kind of, I can see that there's organs inside of this thing, or pieces that are more important than others, and I drive the bayonet home and puncture the core of this creature, and it kind of crumbles around the bayonet as I stab it into the creature.
Excellent. The variophage kind of falls down and like rides a bit and then disassembles itself, and you see kind of this pulsing, crystalline, glowing piece of crystal that you recognize as a Varian grenade that has been created from its body. So that's now your D8. So now you're gonna take your D8 and your D6, and in your next action, you'll roll both of those against the D4.
Killer.
And now I'm gonna swap out of the playtest just to explain that over time, the challenge die escalates. It can be, if I'm running the game as an arbiter or a game master, then I can determine this is really, really hard, so the D12 is going to be the challenge die. Or this is really, really easy, so yes, the D4. Or you can play using kind of this layer on top of what's a very simple game that you can just roll with your kids at any point, rolling one die against another and then saying, actually, you know what, it's not my bayonet that's stopping this phage. It's actually what I'm fighting for. My D8 or my D6 is the love for my queen, who's on the battlefield with me, and so I'm going to steel myself with that resolve. Mm-hmm. And if you fail, you scar it. Whatever that die represents, you scar a die. So the bayonet snaps. Your legendary sword that you inherited from, that's been inherited line by line by line, generation after generation after generation, gets stepped on by Sauron, and now it's shattered, right? Or it's become, something of a different aspect of the story. But the thing that you layer on top of it, if you want to play a more running game, a long running game, or play with more structure, is called an arc. And that's just a separate set of dice that you follow from the D4 to the D6 to the D8 and on, that guides the group through a certain type of story that you want to tell. Some of these stories you can tell in any order. You can just roll the dice and organize them and go. There are a lot of battlefield stories you can do that with. Other stories are, will the mighty Ravens get to the hockey championship this year? And the D4 is the kind of the intro to this homage to a sports film, while the D12 is the finals. There are a lot of options. It's called series. The first rendition was this idea that we do an asteroid mining colony, and that's still on the docket. But it's really a narrative storytelling system. In which the dice for the players, the dice represent your qualities and character abilities, items, vitals. That's what they're called, vitals. And for a GM or an arbiter, or playing collaboratively as a group, you have this extra set of dice and roll tables all around. So that's the series in the nutshell. So I ran, thanks for running through that quick play test that was dirty because it didn't really end, but I don't think it can be farther from 5e. Last conversation we had about it was me asking, when we were putting up the post for this, is this a tabletop role-playing game? I think it's a narrative storytelling game. And I kind of like it being a narrative storytelling game because, yeah, you can put miniatures on a map, and you can make it into a TTRPG very easily because that part isn't difficult. The difficult part was making sure that it can be used totally open. If you are with a super trusted group, or if you're in a situation where you want to teach someone how an RPG works, or if you've got 15 minutes on a lunch break.
Yeah. And that's...
muted.
I'm muted. Muty boy. Every time I've played series with Barker, it has been like in a meeting, or like, you know, hey, do you have 15 minutes here? Or we're sitting around, you know, my coffee table and like, hey, can we test out this quick mechanic? And it's a different game every time, but it is so versatile and flexible and allows for so much, like, it's just like baked in the kind of like peaks and valleys of storytelling. And we've run Battle for Arctur's Vault. We've fought Shadowlings at the Profane Chapel. Like, I've done a ton of stuff with this system, and it's just, yeah, it's really cool. I love it.
Pod racing was another one.
Pod racing, yep.
And to be clear,
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to be clear, it was so streamlined that there wasn't like a big write-up we needed to read. It was like, do you want to run some pod racing? It was like, yeah. And we all had enough shared knowledge about pod racing that we started just rolling dice.
Yeah.
And you figure, like, we have a lot of experience, like, narratively improvising and improvising. So for us, it's a real cool, fun thing, because it's like, oh, well, I want to do this crazy thing. But there are also guides if you want to do something a little more in the arc frames. Like, it's so flexible. It's so tasty, and I can't wait for everybody to play it. Oh, yeah. And Lee says, guys, it sounds really cool. Hope we get an AtCon again one year so we can get some games of series to play there. It's a dream in my heart.
Yeah. I'll speak really quickly to that about the AtCon thing. I think that we've just been kind of waiting for the global pandemic to be over to like start AtCon again, and since that just doesn't really seem to be in the cards for us as a species at this time, we're gonna start looking into some options to be able to do things like that again, because we miss it a lot too. So.
Yeah, and things are at like a fever pitch in terms of expensive.
That too.
Like this year, it's like, whoa, how much to fly where?
Yeah.
Say again. But yeah, we miss you all. I was actually just looking at some AtCon pictures this last week. I was like, oh yeah, just, I don't know, reminiscent, nostalgia in.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Well, we're at about an hour here, which is kind of what we set aside for this. If there are any other like questions or things you guys want to bring up, if you have questions about series, Aether Nexus, anything else that we're working on, feel free to drop it in the chat. But otherwise, we'll kind of start wrapping up here. And just want to thank everyone for showing up. It's like, I really was not sure what to expect. I wasn't sure who was going to show up and how many people we were going to have, and I was fully prepared for just the three of us to be here, just like,
sure,
what are you working on? You know, just, but we had like 15, 16 people here most of the time, which is great. So yeah.
It's felt really cool just to connect. I don't know, feels like old times, but new times.
Like classic.
AbTab
classic.
AbTab classic. Diet AbTab.
It was the best of times. It was the best of
times. But yeah, thank you everyone for showing up, and we'll just leave the office hours text chat that is here in this category. Anytime, drop questions in there, and we will just keep them for the next office hours. We'll sort of keep them in the hopper and tackle the questions that kind of stick out to us from that chat. So, yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. We're excited for the future.
Absolutely. I don't have any liquid in this, but I will hold it up and pretend to drink out of it. Cheers, Slancha. Ah, the last little bit of backwash. Delicious.
Final
extra sweet.
Sensational.
Backup tank.
Oh, dang. Tim drinking out that pool.
Sometimes
drinking out that pool.
Sometimes I just get in there, swim around.
Lowering yourself into it.
Dunk your head and take a big old swig.
Yeah.
I could drink forever in this. We don't need to say goodbye. We could just let people leave.
We can just, people can just leave. Get out of here. We need to use the room. Get out.
No, go.
Guys, it's
Get
late.
out of here.
My parents are going to be home any minute. Can I clear the living room? Can you please take your cans and plates on your way out? This is too late. Guys, Jason, Cool Dad, Christopher Moore, Dwight, Lee, Harry, Mitchell, Armos, D49, get out. I'm kicking you out of my house. I'm kicking you out. Go home. DDJ is still here. Get out. Get lost.
Harry says, no, I want to stay here for as awkwardly as possible.
Harry, you're the one who put on smooth jazz, okay? You ruined the whole vibe halfway into the party. Go.
All right. There's a little. I found there's a button that says end event. I'm gonna push it. It's a doomsday event.